What are the chances of running into you? I'm standing out on the edge, looking for proof. I'm staring.
We're in the business of making cables, and we know quite a lot about cables. So cables being a contentious area in hi-fi, I'm sure you guys, if you looked into cables, have become quite confused because there are so many conflicting views. Some people say they don't make any difference, and later on tonight I hope we can prove to you that they do make a difference, and a substantial difference too. There are probably in the world, in the entire world of people making cables, there's no more than thus many, 10 fingers, no more than that are genuine cable suppliers and makers. Yeah? Everyone else has purloined a cable from another application, bought it from someone like Belden, they put plugs on it, put it together, solder it, and put it out to you guys with flowery language. And if you look into the internet, almost entirely without exception, every one of these people that's selling cables is selling cables on the basis of subjectivity. In other words, they're telling you, I think these cables sound good, so I'm telling you they sound good. Yeah? They don't put any science in it. They don't tell you the science behind the cables because they probably don't know the science. They've purloined the cable from somebody else. Yeah? Bought it, put it together, very often in an attic somewhere. Yeah? So let's get into cables, and I'll tell you the whys and wherefores of cables. There are four important factors that you need to concern yourself with. And the reason is this: the resistance, capacitance and inductance of a cable don't really tell you what it sounds like. But I'll tell you later on about something that will, and that's the velocity of propagation in a cable. That is the speed at which the signal passes down the cable. And the faster that is, the better the cable sounds. I'll tell you why in a while. First thing in a cable is the quality of the conductor. There are basically four types of conductors. You've got a conductor which is made from basic copper, fundamental ordinary copper, which they call tough pitch copper. That is a high crystalline structure. They go from there to oxygen-free copper, OFC copper, which you all know about. The copper which we use is called continuous cast copper, and then after that there is silver. These are the main conductor materials that are used. The crystalline structure in copper, whether it be tough pitch copper or OFC copper, have crystal boundaries. The crystal in the copper is surrounded by a boundary of impurities. And the signal, in order to make its way down the conductor, has to make its way through those impurities. If you can imagine, the way to imagine it is like a bag of sugar. If you imagine a copper conductor like a bag of sugar, the signal has to make its way down through all these grains of sugar. And each of those grains of sugar has a crystal boundary that's deleting the signal. Our principle is to get as much information from there to there without deletion as possible. We use a copper called continuous cast copper, OCC copper. This was developed in the Chiba Institute of Technology in Japan in 73, I think it was, 1973, by a Professor Kronos. And he was developing product for the aircraft industry, but not for hi-fi, because there's not enough money swirling around in the hi-fi industry to employ folk like Professor Rona to do research and development of metal. And at that time, a company in Japan, a huge company called Furukawa, were interested in bringing out a product to celebrate their 200th year in business. A guy called Nagishi was in charge of their R&D, and he had seen a patent application for this material, OCC, and he thought, oh, that's a good idea, that would suit hi-fi cables. So he got in touch with Ono, and the upshot of it all was that Furukawa took the license to produce OCC. Subsequently, Ono gave that license to another two Japanese and one other producer in Taiwan. And these people were licensed to produce OCC. The way they make OCC is they have a bath with the molten copper, which is in a vacuum. And then they extrude the metal, the smelted metal, out of an extrusion mold. The metal comes out at about 6 mm in diameter, about the thickness of a pencil. And if you were to take, for example, a metre long piece of that copper, it would be a single crystal, because what they do is, as it comes out of the extrusion mold, they reheat it and they draw the crystal along the entire length of the extrusion. And that 1 metre extrusion becomes a single crystal piece of copper. So there are no crystal boundaries inside that to delete the signal. The result is you get more signal with less deletion going through it. When that is drawn down from a 6 mm rod to say a 0.3 millimeter strand, which would be a typical strand in a loudspeaker cable, for example, then the crystal length is 125 meters long. So you see, to all intents and purposes, in a multi-stranded conductor made of 0.3 square millimeter strands, there's probably unlikely to be any crystal boundaries in the signal path. So we get more information going from one end of the cable to the other. The other conductor that is used is silver. Silver has a lower resistance to copper, and it is almost certainly a better conductor. The problem with silver is that it's expensive, and other manufacturers that have used silver or do use silver tend to use as little as possible. The audio signal, as it makes its way down through the conductor, occupies varying radial positions within the conductor, like the dendritic marks in a tree, where you see the rings extending towards the periphery. Well, that's how the audio signal makes its way down through a conductor. The low frequencies go down the centre, and the higher frequencies make their way towards the periphery. The very high frequencies go down the periphery of the conductor. This is why you should never use silver-plated copper, and I bet most of you have got silver-plated copper conductors. Yeah, they'll make your ears bleed. And the reason for that is that the audio signal, as it makes its way out, goes out to the periphery of the conductor. You've got a copper conductor with silver plating. Silver plating has a low resistance. The signal is going to find its route down the lead, its way down the route of least resistance, down the silver, and probably arise marginally out of phase with the low frequency signals coming down the centre of the conductor. So you get a high frequency bias in a silver plated conductor. We won't use silver plating for audio, analog audio